US President Donald Trump has criticized South Africa's black-led government on multiple fronts and issued an executive order on February 7th, cutting all US funding to the country as punishment for what he said were its anti-white policies at home and anti-American foreign policy. This has forced the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to pay Trump a visit. Here's a report by our correspondent Kalden Ongmu from Johannesburg.
US President Donald Trump has been saying on repeat.
But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about. But it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white. But whether they're white or black makes no difference to me.
And just early this month, his administration fulfilled that promise of repatriating a small group of white South Africans as refugees. The decision to admit the 49 people also has raised questions from refugee advocates about why this group should be admitted when the Trump administration has suspended efforts to resettle people who are fleeing war and persecution and have gone through years of vetting before coming to the United States. The group from South Africa, including children holding small American flags, arrived at Dulles International Airport outside Washington on a private charter plane and was greeted by Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Lando and Homeland Security Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar. Back in South Africa, the issue has got people talking. Most are perturbed by the move.
Well, the farmers that we've met here today are saying they are happy to stay in South Africa. All they need is for us to work with them to address the challenges they face. One of them is rural roads. They want us to work with them, deal with it.
I don't believe in running away from problems. You know, we've got a lovely country. And we make it work, and especially Afrikaans people, I think since we came here, we always made it work. It doesn't matter what happened, you know, in the past and so on. We always look up and just make things work.
I feel nothing. I'm happy for them. They must go back home. I agree that's where they come from. They must go back home and seek refuge at home. How many foreigners do we have in South Africa that comes each and every year to seek refuge in South Africa? So why must I feel something about them going back home?
The issue even forced South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to seek a redress. The president arrived in the United States ahead of the meeting with United States President Donald Trump. The purpose of the visit is to reset and revitalize bilateral relations between the two countries. South Africa denies that allegation and says whites in the majority black country are not being singled out for persecution. The resettlement of some Afrikaners seeking refuge in the US has been met with a lot of criticism back home in South Africa. Social media has been flooded with memes with both white and black people criticizing the few dozens that have already left. Reports say there are more people in the queue who is interested in accepting Trump's invite. Now, all this comes at a time when President Trump and President Ramaphosa will be meeting face-to-face on Wednesday for the first time to iron out all the differences. Will Ramaphosa be able to convince Trump that there is no genocide against white people in South Africa? Or will Trump continue to remain adamant about the misinformation? Only time will tell. This is Kalden Ongmu from Johannesburg, South Africa for WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.